What's up, you dillweeds? It's your host, Justin Romare, here with the Starvin' Podcast. I'm going to mention a few of our sponsors before we get going. Our first sponsor is Geno Palate. Geno Palate is a customized nutrition company. They analyze your DNA. With this DNA, you'll get information. This information tells you about your genes. Your genes may or may not say that you're carb sensitive. They may or may not say that you're lactose sensitive, or maybe you don't process protein or fat well, or maybe you're deficient in specific vitamins. You're going to want to go to the link in the bio after this podcast and get $20 off your first Geno Palate order by using code CBG. Our second sponsor is X Endurance. This company is amazing. They have all the supplements you need: creatine, protein, workout carbohydrate powder, immune support, omega D3, all the necessary essentials that you need to supplement based on your current nutrition profile. Also, all of their supplements are third-party tested. This means that a separate facility tests their products to make sure that what they say is in the bottle is actually in there. So there's no reason that you would get cracked for being on some type of performance-enhancing drugs, which is a lot of excuse athletes are making these days. But be sure by using X Endurance product instead of other brands. Our third sponsor is Performance Sleep. Performance Sleep has copper infused in the mattress, and it's also the most comfortable bed I've ever slept on. Me and my wife actually purchased a purple mattress, extremely comfortable, but instead we actually sleep on the Performance Sleep mattress every night because it feels like I'm sleeping on a cloud. We have the king, but some people out there, especially during this quarantine, maybe got broken up with. So don't be afraid to go ahead and just buy the single mattress if that's what you need. Our fourth sponsor is Dad Bod Fitness. This is a company that basically provides CrossFit programming for people with minimal amounts of time. Now, it's run by some of the best athletes in the world and professionals. Dane Smith, Adam Klink. These guys have years of knowledge in the sport of CrossFit. So, if you want your program from Dad Bod Fitness online, head over to the link in our bio, and for $20, you can start your journey towards being more fit. And our last sponsor is Consistency Breeds Growth. This is a customized nutrition company. I am a coach there. We have several other coaches and registered dietitians that could help you reach your goals. This is the wave, and this is the way we think that the performance nutrition and weight loss industry is going, towards customized nutrition, not towards generalized applications and other, generic templates out there. So head over to Consistency Breeds Growth using the link in our bio. Now today we're going to talk about an important topic that, essentially is very applicable for the times that we live in, which is being stuck at home all day for those that aren't essential workers. So we're going to get into quarantine nutrition. So stay tuned.
It's science.
Hey there, buddy. Jordan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just trying not to be a bitch. Trying to get trying to get workouts in, son. Trying to, stay elevated during this time.
Dude, I can barely move today. I did Murph in my backyard, and I'm all in pain today. Was that Ricky saying hi?
Yeah, he's barking, but I tried to put it on mute. I don't know how well it worked.
It's all right.
Yeah, he barks every podcast, but what can I do,
Dude, he's the honorary permanent third guest.
He's still got his balls too, so he thinks he's.
You got to get that taken care of.
I know, right? Soon enough.
Yeah.
But anyway, his nutrition profile is kind of set. He eats 2 meals a day, 1 cup of dog food. But for other people, they have a lot more temptations, a lot more complexity. So
oh, hell yeah.
I want to go over some quarantine nutrition today and why people are failing around the world taking care of their nutrition when they're home all day, and they don't have a schedule that they can follow.
Oh, they're just getting killed with it too. That lack of structure is, I think, the biggest thing. I mean, you can I see you see people, like putting locks on their fridge, and I think the hardest thing is the spatial separation. I know many people will work in their kitchen because if they don't have a home office, and you're just staring at the food, and it's so bad.
Yeah,
It's so difficult.
it can get out of control, and for a lot of people, they end up spiraling here because once they get a taste, um, it's tough to get back on track. And I think you hit it on the head when you said structure, and I'd like to switch that verbiage a little bit to consistency.
Oh,
I think that the consistency in someone's life, so what they're doing at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, it filters out a lot of the garbage in the world,
yeah,
and things around like crap on social media or other things that could be distracting you. In this case, it's going to be potentially food that you purchase from the store that's stockpiling in your fridge, things like that. So I think that now is a good time. You have more time for food prep. There are fewer temptations too. Like there are temptations with stuff in your fridge, but there are also fewer temptations because you can't really go out. Like you can't go out with your friends and drink a bunch.
that's
Um,
true.
so I think that I'm like throwing stuff at them. They don't stop.
Like having kids. That's another thing that I think people are getting distracted with. I know a lot of my friends that have kids, they're saying, you know, we can have this healthy, lovely prepared meal with Brussels sprouts or carrots or something, but it's easier to get the kids to actually eat the same things if it's like macaroni and cheese or those simple carbs, those high pleasure carbs. And I think it's easier. I mean, that's what's cheapest too. I know I had talked to my brother, I think it was last week, and he was telling me how they did a run to Walmart to grab some food. He's like, "Yeah, I got this huge ass box of like cookies and got this other stuff." And it's the stuff that's the most readily available. And sadly too, it's a consideration is the shelf stability as well. If you have I don't know, like a bunch of bananas that you bought when they're just about to turn, unless you're gonna be one of those Instagram models making banana bread by the boatload, it might be easier to pick up like fruit snacks or cookies or Oreos versus some like healthy fiber filled like sugar snacks of bananas or apples.
Yeah.
Um, but that's temptation. But I think that um, if you are training, this could be a little bit of a wake up call. Like you can maybe say the first week or two of the quarantine, I think people kind of let it get out of control. They were drinking every night. And if you're training on top of that, you felt it. There's no bullshitting yourself. If you're getting slammed every night and eating like, Bubba's burgers, those frozen burgers that are just, they're greasy and they're good, but they'll slow you down. Uh, I think you're definitely see a hit in your if you see a hit in your nutrition, you're going to see a hit in your performance as well. And I think this is, because of the other distractions that have been eliminated due to the quarantine or you staying inside, you're getting that one to one payoff or lack of payoff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's kind of ironic, like finding consistency that I was talking about before, and then my dogs are like running chaotic. So I think like it's hard, like we know that it's hard, which is why we're doing the podcast. But like in a time of chaos, find something, and in this case, it could very well be your nutrition. It could be the time to get a handle on this, right? Um,
Yeah,
to filter through the chaos and find, what's going to work for your body. What are some of the things that you've been wanting to work on the last 4 or 5 years you haven't had the time, whether it's weight loss, whether it's getting some of your health markers in check. And I personally think that this COVID-19 pandemic that's currently occurring is a wake-up call for a lot of people. You
for
know,
sure.
there are mortality rates for people that are higher than um, others for people that have sort of these comorbidities and have higher inclination of human disease and are overweight. And I seen a post on Instagram actually yesterday, and it was about basically, there he goes. It was basically about let me put them out. So there are a lot of comorbidities and human diseases that are associating with the mortality rate of COVID-19. And yeah, this post was by Wad Science. They're actually Instagram account that they post a lot about, debunking a lot of myths around fitness, the nutrition industry for CrossFit athletes. And they posted how basically don't quit saying that people are obese and telling them that COVID-19 is going to affect them more than other people. They already know this, and that being overweight and eating a bunch and all this other stuff it's an eating disorder and all this stuff. And there's some truth to that. I think that there are a lot of people out there that understand that they are obese and that they're overweight and that they need to do something about it, right? But also there are a lot of other people that they just don't care, and they're not really told by anyone, and they're around a lot of other people that are also unhealthy. Like if you don't live in the South, right? You maybe not, you haven't adjusted to this, but I've lived both in the Northeast and in the South. And I can tell you right now, I don't see nearly as many big people, people that likely have underlying health conditions and that are overweight in the Northeast as I do in the South. So there's a cultural thing surrounding this. And it's a part of it is making good choices. And I know for sure that there are people that I know that their doctor, like in the South, their doctor doesn't tell them that they have to lose weight. Their own doctor, because their doctor's overweight. And it's
that's tough.
So I agree. Like everybody doesn't need to know that they're fat. They already know that. But there are some people there are people out there that need to hear it, and they need someone to tell them, like, look, this COVID-19 is killing a lot more people that have underlying health issues. There are a lot of people that are dying that don't. And it's very complicated. There are a lot of genetics associated with it, and things maybe people didn't even know about themselves until they're diagnosed with it because they have COVID-19. We're not really going to get into that today, but some people do need to hear that it's time to get their act together. And I think this could be a wake-up call for some people.
I agree. I think that there's, excuse me. I think the obesity problem, the diabetes, a lot of those metabolic disorders we've talked about a billion times on the podcast. There's this conflicts of, you have this maybe poor education, this people not knowing how to eat, and I think that goes to the poor education, but also this this thought. I was heavy for a pretty, more than half of my life, and I honestly didn't know how to eat properly or how to even approach it until I got into pretty much my late 20s. And you're talking about, I trained as a teenager as well, and I think it's often, you don't know that you don't know how to eat properly. And I think that if you're stuck home all day, you're seeing people take to Googling things. I read something on, I think it was Morning Chalk Up, either today or yesterday, about how people are Googling CrossFit workouts now, and they made a point that, okay, does this mean people are doing, more CrossFit workouts at home? I don't think that's necessarily the case. I just think that that's what they associate with maybe being healthy. They see these, Matt Frazier, Tia Toomey, and they're like, I want to look like them. I want to train like them. So they'll start Googling. I think that if we can make some of this information more available, and not saying like the government supplied food stuff we can just take with a grain of salt, but not even know, like, hearing accurate information from them or consistent information from them, and so you have what your grandparents told you, you have, your bro that's been doing construction and he's like jacked as hell, but he eats cheeseburgers all the time, and you're trying to take all this information and synthesize it. And I think hopefully what people have been doing during this lockdown is maybe reading something they wouldn't have normally read, taking a listen to more of our podcast or something interesting like that. I do think it is a wake up call. And something for me that's really striking is that um, as the sanctional season has gone, the CrossFit sanctional season has sort of gotten halfway canceled. I'm thinking like, okay, I'm 33, and I'm seeing that the age risks for this are people in their, their later half of their 50s. There's some guys I've worked out with at the gym that are 50, 50, 55 that can kick my ass in a workout. I'm like, do I want to make the conscious effort to be like a 55-year-old that can smash workouts, better than some 20-year-olds, and I think that for me, it's making me question sort of my own mortality and life in fitness and well-being, just because it's a choice. And I think that that's what the first part of this podcast has been all about. It's a choice. Do you want to continue doing nothing and let this time pass and without anything accomplished, or you do want to like actually hit the restart button, like you said, Justin, and go from there?
Yeah. I mean, there are only so many hours left.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes for everyone. Like, everyone's clock is ticking. Whether you believe in fate or not, doesn't matter. Everyone's clock is ticking right now, and you're losing hours all the time. You're constantly losing hours every day. And I think that, when you're, and this is brash, but like once you get to a reality where the data says that people that have underlying health issues from their own doing, from making not so good choices, are dying more frequently from something completely out of their control, a virus, that should scare people. And if it doesn't, then maybe you just don't care about your health or your life that much, and maybe there are other things that you need to go through and self-assess to figure out what is going to make you happy and what's going to give your life fulfillment. But people have to start taking ownership and know that sack up. Like, it's your fault. Like, straight up, like, yeah. It's your fault that you're that big. Like, it is your fault. Who else's fault is it? Whose fault is it? Like, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Like, so some people do need to hear that, because they try to reason that it's not. Like, hear from people, oh, it's genetic and like it's all this stuff. Yeah, everyone has some cards stacked against them, but when you're 280 plus pounds, a part of that has to be your fault. It's your fault. That's just the way that it goes. And I think that this COVID has brought some light to that for some people, and I hope it pushes people in the right direction. This is not me rambling to make people feel like crap or put them deeper in a hole. It's to get them motivated, get them, just doing more than what they're currently doing, getting them to reach out to us and asking for advice, for free advice about what they should be doing. And this is why we do this podcast for free, and it's available for everyone. So I just want to express that. It's not to put people down. It's to elevate people in a way that, gives them some information that's useful during a time where maybe they're struggling a bit more than usual.
I agree. I think that what's something else I've seen, especially since everybody's crowding social media now, too, is that you have this this choice. We can acknowledge that this is a pretty shitty situation, but we can also, we can't control if we're locked inside our houses, but we can control our reaction to that, And this is something, I was at the grocery store earlier today, and I was like, okay, well, what are we going to do today? Are we going to get something that's easy to cook, a little, or are we going to get something that's, not so easy to cook, but a little bit more healthful? So I think we should talk about, what should food intake look like? Like, what should, and I maybe not idealized training plan, but what's something to do? And I think something I have been learning a lot about too is is how to plan your meals, but also how to be honest with yourself as how hard you're training out in your backyard or your gym or your home gym or your garage gym. There it is.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say, for example, you can avoid the temptations. And one way that you do that, in my personal opinion, temptations to drink alcohol, temptations to have bad food, the best way to do this is to just not purchase it.
Yep.
That's it. It's the best way. Don't go to the grocery store hungry. Whatever is going to help prevent you from buying foods that your body doesn't need, processed foods and other things. I know some people have limited access to food, but make good choices while you're at the grocery store, not just because then you won't have to constantly make the same good choice over and over and over and over again when you're home because the food isn't there. You made the good choice at the grocery store, right?
For sure.
That's why it simplifies the pulley system of eating just bad food when you're at home, period, and drinking alcohol 3 to 5 days a week because you're bored and you're home and you don't have to go to work the next day or whatever it might be. And I think that in terms of that's a big step for a lot of people, and a lot of people aren't doing that. And if you are doing that, then we know that the biggest fuel source in terms of training is carbohydrates. So what I've been telling a lot of clients and athletes that I work with is basically use the RPE scale. So this is rate of perceived exertion. And if your workout is, in terms of difficulty, a 6 or below, you need to diminish some of the carbs that you would typically eat throughout the day. Okay? And if you're a 7 or above in terms of the rate of perceived exertion or how much effort you put into your workout for that day, then you have the typical amount of carbs that you would typically have. For other people that are looking for specific guidelines on losing 10 pounds during this quarantine, I think it's best that you reach out to a coach and have them determine what your macronutrient distribution needs to be like, what your caloric intake needs to be like. Let them evaluate your metabolism. But for people really looking to just buckle down and ride this out, those are the tips that I'm providing. So don't buy shit at the grocery store that your body doesn't need, because then you make the choice once. And 2, cut your carbohydrates from what you would do typically at your CrossFit gym or the gym that you go to if your rate of perceived exertion is 6 or below.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think that this is another talking point I wanted to get into. I think it's really pertinent to myself too, is that I'm a snacker. Like I'll do it. I call it like a little guerrilla graze. Just kind of go in the kitchen, grab a little something. And a strategy I've been using to only structure my day, but also structure sort of my snacking, is that I have a window. I don't say, okay, every day we're going to work out at 4 o'clock. I say, no, let's see how I'm writing my dissertation now. So I'll do a block of writing in the morning. I'll have a training block in the late afternoon or evening. And then I'll do my evening block of writing as well. And I say to myself, okay, we can wake up, we can eat all those carbs that you're probably not going to burn off just sitting around, or what we can do is we can have a modest meal in the morning, say breakfast, some protein, and just huge salad. It's easy, dump a few things in a bowl and go. And then I say right when I feel like I'm craving my carbs the most, in the middle of the afternoon, I'll go work out. And then right after that, I'll have, say, something sweet, a piece of chocolate, but it will count, in my mind, a little bit better towards the day versus having the stuffed pastry in the morning, something again in the early afternoon. Those slight changes, and especially with the mealtime, if you can just sort of try and put off the snacking, try and do something else. I use the distraction technique quite a bit. And if you cannot help yourself, get a bag of frozen broccoli, cook it up, and go eat it. If you're still hungry, eat another bag of frozen broccoli. Ain't nobody getting crazy overweight eating bags of frozen broccoli. It sounds crazy, but I swear by it.
Yeah, I mean that those are some great tips. I think that you need to be staying hydrated throughout the day, so drink lots of water. This can help with hunger. And what you're describing is the miscellaneous snacking and eating because you're bored. This is non-homeostatic eating, and it's not functional for the body. The body is not using the energy that you're supplying it versus homeostatic eating, where you're eating what your body needs to fulfill, you know, brain health, performance, whatever it might be. So this non-homeostatic eating, in terms of hunger and boredom, can be eliminated in a few ways. And Jordan, you mentioned some good ones, but some other ones are also drinking lots of water throughout the day. This helps fill up volume in the stomach. Cold water is typically better for doing that. Also, dude, like come down in your workout clothes. Like
Yeah.
wake up and put your workout clothes on. Don't like, oh, I'll put them on later. Like, no, put your workout clothes on. What I've been doing, I've actually been working out a lot in the morning. Then it's done. Like
Yeah.
you got it done. Like you wake up, you're in your workout clothes, you work out. This is extremely important. Jordan's already mentioned, if you're gonna snack on vegetables. This is extremely helpful. Grab some raw carrots, cook some broccoli, and also eat your meals slower. Like don't like devour your plate in like 5 minutes. Like enjoy your food, have that relationship with your food that's healthy. um, and I think these are all tips that, in terms of you know what you can be doing to really get through each day and help find consistent patterns in how much food you're taking in, when you're going to be taking in a lot of your foods, and how to train. And I mean, also, if you're looking for I mean, everyone's really changing their programs to fit, really, what equipment people have. And Dad Bod Fitness, which is run by Adam Klink and Dane Smith, two of the top CrossFit athletes, you know, in the world, are basically providing minimal equipment, short, fast-paced workouts that, people don't have time. Boom, you're done. 30, 45-minute workout. They get you everything you need. It's programmed by some of the best people in the world. I believe it's like $20 a month. Hop
There you
over to their
go.
website. I mean, there are other resources like this where people are, you know, basically taking their programming and helping customize to the times that we're in right now. And they're definitely doing that. There are other people doing that. Um, and this is really going to help you sort of navigate your way to finding some consistency, getting rid of a lot of the chaos that I was talking about before, which I think is really messing people up.
Hmm.
Um, and hopefully we're through this in hopefully another month or so, and we can kind of go back to living a little bit more normally.
Yeah, I know me personally. I've been keeping that late afternoon workout window, but I live on a huge ass hill right next to a bunch of I think tennis courts that have the only flat area in this entire region of Prague, and you know instead of um, instead of making excuses like nah, maybe I'll do a little bit of a running thing. I told one of my coaches that helps me program. Well, he programs. I don't do any of the program. He knows I live on a hill, and he'll say, "All right, cool. You're doing hill sprints today. Um, and now since you're good and you've been doing them for a month, you're gonna put a vest on when you're doing them as well." And I'll tell you what, taking that slightly different approach of getting away from the barbell. I have two kettlebells here. I've noticed just my core strength has gone up. I think taking this time to embrace things that you weren't good at and that frankly you sucked at. I sucked at running. I don't suck nearly as much at running as I did before this started. And there's a few other little things. I don't need to bore you with them, but having that change in mindset of this sucks, I can't do what I want to, hey, let's use this time because I'm locked down to like really hammer the things that I wasn't good at and want to become better at. So then when you get back to the gym, you can just like roll in there like a pimp daddy or something.
Yeah, freaking shredded.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah,
just Jesus lean.
exactly. Jesus lean. Um, yeah. So That's awesome, and I think that yeah, you really brought it home there. That there are a lot of positives that we can take out of this time, and at Consistency Breeds Growth, we're basically a nutrition company, customized nutrition company that helps people really find a guide in relationship with food that allows them to start to eat intrinsically. So to eat to sustain, their new body weight or their performance or whatever their goals might be. And we understand that there aren't a lot of people in a financial position right now to pay for nutrition coaching, but there are people that are in a financial spot, people that are still working, the lucky ones. And if you think that, the structure in your life that we're talking about to filter through some of that chaos can be through understanding what your body needs, your nutrition, weight loss. Consistency Breeds Growth giving some huge discounts right now, up to like 40% off their customized nutrition coaching. So
Hell yeah.
We've even had to hire other coaches to start working with some people as of late. So definitely, look at the link in the bio for that if you are interested in that. And we hope you guys enjoyed the podcast and you stay safe during this time. And we'll have something for you guys in another 2 weeks.
Whoa, whoa.
Later, Jordan.
Bye.